Black waves slammed against Darius Thompson's chest as a 72-year-old black man fought to stay above the freezing ocean. And on the yacht above him, hand steady, lips curled into a cruel smile, stood Ashley, his white daughter-in-law, watching him struggle like she was watching entertainment. "Stop fighting, Darius," she shouted over wind. "Men like you don't survive long in the ocean. And honestly, people like you were never meant to have this much money anyway. If it's already made your blood boil, tap like, and subscribe so you don't miss stories where justice finally wins." The yacht engine revved, sending a violent wave crashing into his face. Inside the cabin behind her, Malik, Darius's son, lay unconscious, drugged by the same woman who now stared at his father with icy satisfaction. Ashley leaned over the rail, hair whipping, voice dripping venom. "Malik will wake up and find you gone. I'll cry, I'll lie, and everyone will believe the same story. An old black man slipped, fell, and drowned. No one questions accidents at sea, especially when they involve someone like you." Darius didn't shout back, didn't beg, didn't panic. He just floated, breathing slow, watching her the same way a chess master watches someone making the wrong move. That calmness irritated her more than waves or wind ever could. "You actually thought you deserved to be part of our family?" She laughed bitterly. "When Malik signs everything over, we get it all. My daughter will grow up with the life she deserves, not tainted by your history, not stained by your bloodline." Another wave smashed into Darius, but he held his balance, eyes steady, unshaken. Ashley mistook that calm for weakness, but she didn't know what he had prepared. She didn't know who he had already contacted. She didn't know what was recording her right now. She thought this ocean was going to take him. What she didn't know was that this moment, this exact second, was the one he had been waiting for. The icy water lapping against Darius's skin wasn't the first time he felt a chill from Ashley. Her racism never came in one explosion. It had started months earlier. Quiet, subtle, disguised a concern, just sharp enough for him to feel but soft enough for others to miss. It began at a family dinner. Ashley casually wiped the table where he had been sitting, smiling awkwardly when Malik didn't notice. She offered him smaller portions than everyone else. She accidentally mixed up his plate at Thanksgiving, the one everyone else avoided. Little things, too small to accuse, too consistent to ignore. Darius had lived 72 years as a black man in America. He recognized microaggressions the same way a sailor recognizes a storm, long before anyone else feels the wind. But the moment everything changed wasn't a dinner or a look. It was a phone vibration. Christmas Eve, family laughing in the living room, hot cocoa on the table. Malik had just stepped outside to take a call. Ashley left her phone charging beside Darius while she rushed upstairs to check on the baby. When her screen lit up with a preview, he wasn't snooping. He just picked it up to hand it to her and froze. A message in a group chat labeled, "Inheritance plan. I finally convinced Malik to sign the preliminary forms. The old man doesn't have long anyway." Ashley, another message popped in from a saved contact. "Brandon, lawyer, make sure there are no witnesses when it happens. Boats are clean accidents." Darius's breath caught, not from fear. For him, danger had always been something to plan around, but from disappointment. He handed her phone back when she returned, face calm, masking the storm inside. That night, he saved every message, screenshotted every line, copied every contact, and said nothing. Over the next weeks, Ashley's behavior sharpened. She asked Malik why Darius smelled like old books. She complained that Darius talked too loud for the baby. She told friends at brunch that Malik was half black but raised the right way. Every comment chipped away at Malik's confidence, reshaping him, pulling him slowly toward her world. And then came the moment that broke Darius. One afternoon, Malik gently asked him not to teach their daughter about black history for now, because Ashley felt it was too heavy. That's when Darius understood. She wasn't trying to erase him. She was trying to erase everything he represented. But Ashley didn't know that the man she was targeting had built an entire life by outsmarting people who underestimated him. and she was about to find out what a fatal mistake that was. Darius first sensed a danger shift from hostility to intent on a quiet Tuesday morning. Malik had already left for the hospital. The house was unusually silent. Even the baby monitor was off. Ashley paced the hallway upstairs, her footsteps sharp, tense. Darius had stopped by to drop off a small bag of toys for his granddaughter. Nothing unusual, until he heard a whisper he wasn't meant to hear. Ashley's voice. Low, urgent. He paused near the half-closed office door. He's getting weaker. It has to happen soon. A man's voice replied, someone Darius didn't recognize. Make sure Malik stays out of the way. The papers won't hold unless something pushes a transfer. Ashley exhaled like someone carrying a lifelong grudge. He's old. He'll slip or fall. No one questions accidents at his age, especially men like him. The man on the phone chuckled. You always were good at playing innocent. She lowered her voice again. You know the goal. Malik gets the money. My daughter gets the life she deserves. We can't have her inheriting from that bloodline. Darius didn't move, didn't inhale, didn't blink. He just listened, quiet as a stone, heart steady, expression unreadable. When Ashley ended the call, she walked downstairs smiling sweetly, pretending not to notice him standing there. Oh, Darius, you startled me, she laughed, fake warmth dripping from her voice. Did you need something? He simply nodded, set the toy bag down, and walked out without a word. But inside, his mind was no longer processing pain. It was building a timeline, a map, a counterstrike. The next morning, Darius received an anonymous text. No name, no greeting, just a single screenshot. Ashley's bank deposit schedule. Large amounts. From accounts tied to two men who had died accidentally. This wasn't just cruelty. This was a pattern. And someone out there wanted him to know. If this happened in front of you, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you stand for fairness, hit subscribe. The message sender stayed silent after that. But Darius didn't need more clues. He knew what Ashley was planning. He knew she wasn't working alone. And he knew Malik was in far more danger than he understood. This was an inheritance greed. It was a targeted pattern, calculated, practiced, perfected. But what Ashley didn't know was that Darius had once built a thriving business by reading people better than they read themselves. He had outsmarted clients, rivals, executives, and entire boardrooms. She thought he was an old man she could push around, but she had just pushed him into preparing something she could never recover from. The night after receiving that anonymous screenshot, Darius sat alone in his study with the lights off, not hiding, thinking. Every detail Ashley had overlooked, every arrogant slip in her behavior, every careless whisper, now formed a map in his head. He didn't panic. He prepared. And the first person he called was someone Ashley would never imagine. Detective Imani Rhodes, a sharp, calm black investigator from the State Bureau. Someone Darius trusted because she came from the same world Ashley pretended didn't exist. She showed up at his house with no lights, no sirens, just controlled focus. Mr. Thompson, she said quietly, closing the door behind her. I've seen the pattern in those messages. This isn't her first attempt. Darius nodded once. I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with. Imani placed a folder on his table, thin but heavy with truth. Inside were files from 2 previous suspicious deaths, accidental drownings, falls, insurance payouts, inheritance disputes, and in every photo, Ashley smiling in the background, pretending grief. She's been doing this for years, Imani whispered, and every time she plays the sweet, innocent wife. You were never the target. Your wealth was. Darius closed the folder gently. No reaction, no anger, just decision. What do you need from me? Imani asked. His voice was calm, too calm, a chance to let her think she's winning. Imani raised a brow. You're planning something. Not planning, he corrected softly. Finishing. 2 days later, while Ashley planned a fake family boat trip, Darius walked on the yacht early before she arrived. He installed 3 micro cameras under the rails, a GPS transmitter disguised as a bolt, a live audio relay wired into the emergency beacon, and finally, he clipped a military-grade location device inside his jacket lining. When Imani checked the transmission on her tablet, the signal was flawless. Darius looked at her with the steady confidence of someone who'd survived more than prejudice. He adjusted the collar of his coat and said quietly, "She thinks she's dragging me into the ocean, but she has no idea she's already drowning." If you believe talent can silence every insult, share this video. And to everyone watching from the US, UK, and Canada, your voice matters. As Imani left the yacht to join the surveillance team, she paused. "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" she asked. Darius looked toward the horizon where the calm water met the rising sun. "For men like me," he said, "justice doesn't happen by waiting. It happens by being ready." When Ashley arrived hours later with her fake smile, rehearsed innocence, and a sedative in her purse, she didn't notice the slight click of the hidden cameras. She didn't notice the faint blinking of a transmitter. She didn't notice the silent movement of Coast Guard boats beginning to drift into range. She thought today was the day she removed him from her world. But the truth? Today was the day he revealed hers. The morning of the trip was bright, calm, and painfully ordinary, exactly what Ashley needed for her performance. She served Malik his breakfast like a loving wife, stirred the coffee with just enough sweetness, kissed his forehead, and waited for the sedative to take effect. Within minutes, his eyes grew heavy, his words slurred. "Babe, I'm tired, didn't sleep. You've been overworking," Ashley whispered, guiding him toward the couch. "Just rest, honey. I'll take care of everything today." And he believed her. Every lie, every smile, every poisoned moment. She tucked a blanket over him, brushed a hand through his hair, and checked her watch. Right on schedule. Darius arrived exactly when she expected. He stepped into the living room, immediately noticing Malik half asleep on the couch. Ashley faked a worried tone. "Oh, Darius, Malik isn't feeling well. I thought maybe you and I could still take the boat out. Some fresh air might help me clear my mind." She looked fragile, soft, harmless. Darius nodded gently, the same way he had nodded the day he found her messages. Calm on the surface, prepared underneath. By the time they reached the marina, Ashley's performance sharpened. She helped Darius onto the yacht, pretending to grip his arm like a caring daughter. She giggled at his jokes, asked about old stories, and acted like she loved the man she planned to kill. But inside the coastal surveillance station not far away, Detective Imani Rhodes and 2 federal agents monitored every angle through Darius's hidden cameras. "He's already on board," Imani said, adjusting her headset. "Audio is perfect, video stable, Coast Guard units, hold position." A chorus of confirmations filled the room. Ashley secured the ropes and untied the yacht slowly. Too slowly, glancing around like she expected to be watched but feared she wasn't important enough. She started the engine, her smile fading into something colder as soon as they left the docks. "Perfect day for a final sail," she muttered under her breath. The boat pushed deeper into the open water. Waves grew stronger, wind sharper, Ashley's patience thinner. She poured herself a drink, humming a tune, pretending nothing wicked lived inside her. Darius stood near the railing, gazing at the horizon. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she said. "Depends on what you're looking at," he replied calmly. In the surveillance room, Imani leaned forward. "He knows she's about to make her move," an agent whispered. Imani exhaled, "and she thinks she's in control." Ashley stepped behind Darius, her voice shifting. "No pretenses this time. Malik will wake up later, confused, heartbroken, and I'll be the grieving wife who tried to save his father." The Coast Guard commander, listening to the feed, shook his head. "She's not even hiding it. Monsters rarely do when they think they've won," Imani replied. Ashley walked in front of the yacht, turned off the safety alarms, then slowly increased throttle. And in that moment, just as the boat surged forward, the Coast Guard received a single silent ping on their radar. Darius's emergency device, the signal they'd all been waiting for. And the moment Ashley unknowingly crossed the point of no return, The ocean roared as the yacht cut through the water, faster and faster. Ashley's confidence grew with every wave that slammed against the hull. She gripped the wheel tighter, her expression shifting from fake sweetness to raw cruelty. "It's poetic, isn't it?" she said loudly over the engine. "A man like you, disappearing into the ocean. Quiet, clean, no questions." Darius stood near the edge, letting the spray hit his face. His heartbeat was calm, steady, far steadier than hers would be in a few minutes. Inside the surveillance room, alarms flashed. Ping, ping. Ping. Darius's emergency tracker transmitted his exact coordinates. Imani straightened. Coast Guard units, lock onto signal. Move now. Repeat, move now. Dozens of voices responded at once. Air support in motion. Helicopter 1 lifting. Rescue boats approaching from northwest. Ashley had no clue that death wasn't circling Darius. It was circling her. She walked toward him slowly, voice dripping with years of resentment. "You know, Darius, Malik never needed your influence. I've spent years trying to clean his life, clean his background, clean his daughter's future." She stepped closer, eyes cold. "My family doesn't need your story mudding our name." A wave hit the side of the yacht, nearly knocking her off balance. But she found a railing and kept going. "And do you want to know the funniest part?" she whispered, leaning close. "Malik will believe me. He always does. Because I'm the one who built his new life. I'm the one he trusts." Darius looked at her, tired, wise, unbearably calm. "You've built nothing," he said quietly. "You just stole from people who never feared you." Before she could respond, a deep thunder echoed across the sky. Ashley glanced up. 3 Coast Guard helicopters were racing toward them, blades chopping violently through the air. Her face drained of color. What is that?" A loudspeaker boomed across the ocean. "This is the United States Coast Guard. Ashley Harper, you are under federal investigation. Turn off your engine immediately." Ashley stumbled backward, shaking her head. No. She ran to the controls, slamming buttons desperately. "How do they find us? How do they know my name?" Another helicopter swung overhead, its spotlight hitting her like a punch of daylight. Inside the comms room, Imani watched her panic with a steady gaze. "This is what happens," she murmured, "when someone mistakes arrogance for intelligence." The Coast Guard boat surrounded the yacht, waves booming against the sides as officers shouted commands. Ashley screamed, pointing wildly at Darius. "He fell. I tried to help him. He slipped. I didn't do anything." An agent climbed aboard, tablet in hand, showing her the live feed from the hidden cameras. Her face collapsed. Every racist word, every threat, every murder plan, every step of her accident. Captured, documented, undeniable. "You're lying," she said weakly. "This is edited. This is... Another officer cut her off. "Ma'am, the FBI, Coast Guard, and State Bureau all watched this unfold live." Darius, now safely lifted by rescue crew, stepped back onto the deck, not with triumph, but with the quiet dignity Ashley never understood. "You tried to drown me," he said calmly, "but you're the only one sinking today." Ashley collapsed to her knees as agents cuffed her wrists. Her plan hadn't just failed, it had destroyed her. The sun was dipping low by the time the chaos settled. Coast Guard boats idled quietly now. The helicopters turned back toward base, and the ocean finally calmed, as if the water itself had been waiting for justice to be served. Darius sat wrapped in a thermal blanket on the rescue deck, breathing slowly, watching the world he had almost lost return to him piece by piece. But even now, there was no anger in his face, just a heavy, quiet relief, a man who had carried the weight of danger far too long, now finally setting it down. At the hospital, Malik woke up fully for the first time since the sedative. His vision was blurry, but the screen in front of him was painfully clear. Ashley's arrest, her racist confession, her plan to kill his father. All of it broadcast live. He broke down, years of confusion, manipulation, and guilt collapsing in on him all at once. When Darius was brought in for observation, Malik rushed in before the nurses could even check his vitals. "Dad, I'm so sorry," Malik whispered, voice cracking. "I didn't see it. I didn't see any of it." Darius placed a weather hand on his son's shoulder. "You weren't supposed to," he said gently. "People like her hide in honesty, not in darkness." Malik cried harder, gripping him like someone terrified to lose what little family he had left. And for the first time in years, Darius felt his son understand him. Not as a burden, not as an old man, but as the anchor the family Ashley tried to erase. Later that week, Malik visited Darius's home with his daughter, bright, curious, and free from the poison Ashley had tried to plant. She ran into Darius's arms, giggling. "Grandpa, Mommy's not coming home." Darius paused, choosing his words carefully. "No, sweetheart, she made bad choices, and bad choices catch up." Malik watched the moment quietly, realizing what Ashley had truly been trying to take from him. Not money, not inheritance, but identity, history, roots. A month later, the court sentenced Ashley to life in prison without parole, not simply for the attempted murder, but for the pattern, the manipulation, the racism embedded in every decision she made. Standing outside the courthouse, Darius looked up at the sky, calm, endless, and finally peaceful. "She thought she could erase me," he murmured, but all she erased was herself. And with that, he walked away with his family, stronger, wiser, and finally free from the storm that tried to swallow them whole.